Global Change 2009. A public message to the powers that be of this world. This film was made for you by thoughtful people from Eastern Germany. As you may already know, we have a certain experience with peaceful revolutions and a good intuition about when the time is ripe for them.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
2009. Can the acceleration of the chain reaction in the financial and economic collapse still be stopped? Or will 2009 mark the meltdown of global finance? (2009), the year of national bankruptcies? (2009), the year of uprisings? Could 2009 mark the start of what we may call World Civil War? Who will get the blame? Blame needs a face. Remain calm. Everything will be fine. All the world's problems can be solved when the causes are known, which is why we looked for the actual reasons for these problems and can provide some solutions. Today, we can present you with images for the chance of the century within the crisis of the century. Crises can force changes that would not be politically feasible without the crisis. And a really large crisis has the potential to initiate really large changes. This is a part of human nature and is something we simply have to accept. Society is like the notorious chain smoker who cannot quit smoking until he suffers a heart attack. But afterwards, it can lead to changes in behavior. But don't we already have enough problems without the financial crisis? Climate change. Peak oil, scarce resources, terrorism and war, overpopulation, extreme poverty, unemployment, moral decline, the disintegration of societal solidarity, insufficient health care.
Yes, we can.
All solvable problems? Crisis of the century. Chance of the century. Today, after the broad capitulation of the established economic sciences, we would like to present you with the solution to all our problems. It is called free market economy. Isn't that what we already have? Or do we rather have monopolistic capitalism with sprawling socialistic remedial services? Isn't this just capitalistic socialism in its economic and moral death throes, without any real solutions for the coming ecological challenges? In order to learn about the free market economy, which claims to be able to solve almost all of the world's problems, we have to take a trip to the golden era of the free market economy. The free market economy stands ready to replace this drowning capitalistic socialism. You can best understand free market economy within nature because it is quite similar to nature. According to the theories of Adam Smith, the great-grandfather of the free market economy, in the free market economy, there is an invisible hand that creates the wealth of nations. Everyone pursues his or her self-interest, which is a part of human nature, yet in the end, all of us profit from the economic ambitions of the individual. The invisible hand only functions without monopolies. As soon as there are monopolies, the whole system gets out of whack. Can a free market economy work at all? Aren't we already drowning in the problems it causes? Karl Marx put the people on a false ideological path, wanting to direct them away from the natural free market economy. However, he was right about one thing. Capitalism has a self-destructive tendency towards ever-increasing monopolization. The creation of monopolies is the main problem. That is why there has never actually been a real free market economy in any era. It only exists in theory at this point. What is the solution? Very simple. The monopolies must be broken up. The state must work to ensure that monopolies cannot be formed. Whereby today's leaders seem to encourage monopolies rather than oppose them. Some of the leaders have even sold themselves to the monopolies. How can a free market economy end the current economic crisis? Very simply, the invisible hand of the free market economy can solve all the problems because it is a basic principle of nature. When it fails to function, there are monopolies. In other words, market disturbances that must be broken up by the state's monopoly on the use of force. Instead, the state attempts to advance the market economy, slowed down by the monopolies through rules and subsidies. This simultaneously puts the brakes on due to increasing amounts of taxes and bureaucracy. In doing this, the state takes on an almost socialist character, which is why we rightly do not call this a free market economy, but instead call it a monopolistic capitalism with sprawling socialistic remedial services. This is how we have arrived at the current crisis of the century, which will be deadly for all concerned parties. Let's start from the beginning. How does a national economy work? The purpose of a national economy is that we satisfy our needs through division of labor. We have all specialized, which creates high productivity and great prosperity. Everyone receives money for what he or she produces. A healthy exchange of services is susceptible to disturbance when there is a lack of demand. For example, when the payment a person receives for his or her own services is not completely spent for the demand for services from others. We're talking about savings. It is the most normal process in the world, but basically saving money is, in the first place, a faulty exchange of services. Practically, however, it isn't a problem as long as someone else compensates for the gap in demand with a promise of services without currently producing a service. When someone saves, someone else has to take out a loan. Otherwise, the exchange of services is disturbed. A functioning free market system must always simply keep savings and credit aligned with one another. Then it would be completely crisis-free. Nowadays, this is unfortunately not the case because we do not live in a free market system, but rather in capitalistic socialism. This is why there is a deflationary depression every 50 to 70 years, in which case more money flows into the banks than out of them. After a huge destructive war is when capitalism is at its best. Because when everything's been destroyed, there is a huge need for investments in material goods, meaning there are direct investments in the real economy and there are very high yields on these investments. Consequently, there is only very little savings going on, and thus very little money is being removed from the economic cycle. The small amount saved goes towards good debtors, debtors with equity and securities.